Good morning. There we go. My mic's on. Hey guys. Okay, happy Friday. We made it. Okay, today's gonna be a fun one. We're gonna be taking a shot that I've worked on before. This is something you actually can get some of this footage on Film Supply. Some of these shots I worked on, but I'm gonna take it and we're going to add in some elements, some CG elements. So we're not going to do any crazy sims. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to do, sorry, my brain's off. We're just going to use Blender and Nuke. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to light something, kind of match, and then we're going to show you what I do in comp. Now, this was going to be a super big course, and I was working on it, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna show you guys how I do this stuff. So if you're tuning in, welcome, and say hello. I would love to see everyone that's here. I love chatting with you guys, so please say hello and we can dive in. First, let me pull up, one second. I want to show you guys the shots that I worked on. What's the best way to show you this? Yeah. Let me pull this up and then I'll show you as people are rolling in. And say hello. Awesome. Wow, we have a lot of people on Facebook today. Hey, if you're joining via Facebook, say hello. That's interesting. Yeah, we have a lot of people on Facebook and a lot of people on Twitter today. Amazing. I love it. Okay, let me show you guys this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna pull up my screen. What's up? Thanks, Renell, for saying hi. Okay, so these shots are all on Film Supply, shot by Jared Fidel, my good friend Jared Fidel, incredibly talented dude, and directed by Johnny Mass. And these were the shots that we did. And this was shot on the Arri Alexa, and then I did these rocks floating in Houdini, and then we used Redshift. So, and I comped in Nuke. But yeah, we have these up here, and I was really stoked the way they turned out. And there's lots of things that I did that I was happy about. Not all these shots are on here. I'm trying to find some of the other shots that didn't make it, but it was so much fun, such a fun thing. So I'm going to show you. We're going to use some of the same footage from the shoot, and we're not gonna use a complicated shot. I had the thought of doing. Maybe I'll pull up the shots and we can either vote, or I can just show you the one that I picked. So, so I picked a kind of a, let me show you a Nuke. I picked a shot like this that was a little bit more overcasty, something simple, but definitely flat, something that you'll see that you might get. And then, or we could do something with some sun in it. The reason why I chose the shot that didn't have sun in it, mainly because the camera's not moving and I didn't want to do crazy tracking and a bunch of other stuff. So I thought, let's just do a shot that's not too much tracking, just 2D tracking. So maybe we'll just stick with this one. And I'll kind of show you my thought process, walk you through what I do and what I think is helpful. I need to just scale this. Well, no, we'll leave you guys up there. Sorry, I'm just moving a couple things really quick. Move me around. Okay. So, and again, if you're joining, please say hello. We can see we have 2 people on Twitter or on Twitch. We have 10 people on Facebook. We have 4 people on YouTube, and we have 7 people over on Twitter. So thank you guys for joining. Already, I'm super happy. Let me see. Sometimes the Facebook one, I just want to see if, because the Facebook one sometimes doesn't allow me to read chats, which is a huge bummer. So I just want to confirm that that one's up and working. Great, yep. But unfortunately, yeah, I can't see any of the... So if someone's on Facebook watching, I would appreciate if someone said hello so I could confirm that that is working all right. That'd be awesome. Okay, all right, guys, let's jump into this. So I'm going to show you my thought process. This is going to be a really good video, and hopefully it'll give you some good tips and tricks. So before I start, we're going to just turn up the saturation so you can see this a little bit better. Wrong way. So when I look at a shot, I start analyzing a lot of it and saying, oh, Grace, thank you for saying hello. Thank you. Thanks for confirming that this is working. So first you need to think about, let's just create a client that says, hey, you know what I want, and I'm going to create a paint node. And we're just going to paint over this. And the client says, we want a giant building right here. That does not look like a building, like a rocket ship. They want a building right there. And maybe we'll do some smaller buildings and stuff. So we know that we're going to have to do some roto. Maybe we'll have that behind this hill. There's a hill right there. And we also want to make sure that it's following the right composition rules. So like the rule of thirds, say if you guys know the rule of thirds in camera land, you want to make sure that your composition, it's like hitting within, you know, these targets right there. And you can see when Jared shot this that, you know, he was composing it because originally we had a meteorite flying through the shot, but you know, so he was planning for this. So anyway, that's kind of how you start thinking, okay, like how big do we want this? And normally I would take, what's up, Ruben? I would take this shot, a still of it. I would bring it into Photoshop, and we're not going to do that today because it's going to take way too long. And I actually start painting stuff in. A way you can do that pretty quick, if you do want to do it in Photoshop, again, I'm not going to do it here today, but what you do is if you come in here and you sample, come on now, let me sample. So I'm going to sample the colors. Why is that not letting me sample? There we go. You sample the colors that are close to this. And what you'll get when you do that is you're able to kind of fake blend stuff in. So I'm sampling the black area, you know, and you'd come in here and then you'd sample another color, like maybe a lighter color. And, you know, add like, okay, a light from that direction. Anyway, and you kind of just do that in Photoshop really quick. So what we're going to do today is this shot also, if you see, it's a 2D motion. We don't need to do any 3D tracking. So that's one of the first things I look at. What's up, Benjamin? How's it going? What's up, Rishi? We're going to do some 3D compositing stuff. So when you look at this shot, you know that just 2D motion, and again, you're analyzing this stuff, and you want to also start analyzing like what is our grain situation like. And so I start looking, I'm like, wow, like it's pretty noisy. So we're going to have to match that when we get into comp. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take this, and we're only going to be rendering one frame, not a bunch of animation. So in Nuke, create a right node. And we're just going to export out a, let's do it in here and call this live comping. And we'll call this main still dot, I think we can just do a TIFF, not a TOF. There's no such thing as that. And we're only going to do one frame. I'll leave it at 8-bit. And it's not going to be colored like this. It'll come out looking more like that, super flat. And then we'll try to match it. Sometimes it helps to add some saturation stuff and then match it. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's just render this one teeny frame out. Let's just say frame 1. Okay, so that's rendered out. Now let's open up Blender. Yes, we're going to be doing Blender, and we're going to do good old Nuke. So bringing these two things together. This is Blender 4.2, and we're also going to be using some assets from the Kitbash cargo. I am not sponsored by Kitbash, but if they do want to sponsor me, I'll happily take it because they have some awesome stuff. So cargo, just like Megascans, you can get tons of amazing assets. You can do subscription-based, and some of these are free. So you can go into their models, and it connects to, it'll connect directly to your, sorry, brain, work for a second, to your Blender, Houdini, Cinema, whatever you want, whatever software you're using. So that's kind of a cool one, this drill, and they have free ones. So we can look at this. Maybe, yeah, we want it to look like an oil field. Maybe that's like the clients ask. They're like, this movie takes place out in an oil field. So maybe we'll just go with something like this, a good steampunk oil field. That could be a pretty easy one. And I'm going to hit download. Just wait a sec as it finishes. And this is just, again, time saving. I could create these myself, right? If I have a client that has a specific need, I would probably hire someone to model something better than I could. And then, oops, let me move me over here. So then what you can do, and once you have your own plugin, you can specify which plugin you want. And I can just hit import. It's going to think for a second. And Blender's going to think for a second. And voila. I'm going to hit F to full frame this. And there we go. There's our oil refinery. And I have this, my scene's already preset. Look at that. All the materials are set up. Let me zoom in a little bit better for you guys. We're going to try to make this a little bit bigger. And look at that. These assets are really good. They're already textured. Super high quality. Boom, done. Again, you could model this yourself, but we're not going to do modeling. This is all about adding stuff into a shot. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to start setting up our project properly. So let's do that. Let's go look at our size. And here in Nuke, it's 3200 by 1800. So I can come in here and I'll see. Oh, my UI is a little small for you guys. Sorry about that. I can try to scale it up right here. Okay. So we have what? 3200 by 1800. So that's going to be the correct dimensions. Cargo is super cool. Sorry, I'll talk. Do you think the assets are royalty free or is it last? You know, I don't know actually, Rishi. Yeah, we could look that up, but yeah, they're great. They're just, I don't know. We'll find out. We can go look after on kitbash.com. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, let's jump back into this. So now what we need to do is we need to bring in that plate. Now I'm going to move me back over to the other side. Let's take it. And I was going to show you guys the way my layout is. So sometimes I have people ask me, why do I have it laid out this way? I like to make it so that I like to access my camera and my lights easy. So what you can do is come in here and you can create a new outliner, and I just say, hey, lights and camera. And then this outliner is just going to be my objects and my meshes. So I don't ever have to toggle through stuff to find my cameras and whatever. It's just so much easier to do it this way. You could even have another outliner that's just for your armature, which could be really helpful if you need it broken up. So let's bring in our camera, or our background image. And we're going to click on this. And actually, I'm going to test something in 4.2. I did test this, and it worked the other day, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And if I just select it on my camera, and I go, let me find this file really quick. Stay with me. What's up, Christopher? We're going to find this. Where did I save this? 1 second. Hold, please. Let's see where I saved this file. Blender live comping. Okay, there's a folder called live comping. That's why I totally missed that. Okay. Let me bring this over and show you guys. So let me see. I'm selected on my camera, and I did this the other day. And if you drag it in, it worked. So that should have added a background image just by dragging the image over. Hey, Guz. So you want to come in here and turn that up a little bit. And again, this is super flat. And so we're going to try to match that flatness. Sometimes it does help to add on a LUT, because if it's so flat, you'll miss stuff. And so it's good to have like a LUT on an image, bring it in, and then you basically a LUT that just does curves, nothing crazy, no like color changing, but just adding contrast. Then so you can match, but we might be able to do this, view it, just a viewer LUT in our, come in here and let's see if we just add, oh, that didn't change anything because we're not rendering. So no, we're not going to do it that way. Yeah. We might be able to, actually, here's what we can do. I think we can do it this way. Let's go in here in the background image. And can you add a, nope, we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep it as is. But you can see that's pretty flat. So the other thing you would want to know, and I can't remember what I have, is when you're on set, you want to find out what focal length they're using. You really want to make sure you're writing all that stuff down. So we don't know what focal length this is. This looks like it's definitely not a wide. It looks pretty flat. This could be a 50 or it could be like an 85 because you can tell because the way everything's compressed. Everything in that scene's compressed. Let me turn off that floor. That's distracting. So we're going to come up here, and right now we're at 50, but I'm going to go even more telephoto and do an 85. Now what you want to do is, I'm going to turn the floor back on, is you want to start trying to position your ground to match that right there. And the other thing you want to start looking at is scale. That dual outliner is a great tip. Well, thank you. Yeah, I love doing it this way. And then I just save it as a preset and then done. So what we're going to do is, again, we got to pay attention to scale. And in here, it's very interesting. It looks way, oh, do you know what I did? I should have changed this to sRGB. Hold, please. If its output is matte painting, it's going to be even more flat. So I should have done sRGB. And since we're still here, and I'm going to re-export this really quick, I might just add a quick gamma and gain. This will just help our eyes see stuff a little bit better. And then we can render it out a little bit more flat. That makes sense. Okay, let me come in here, re-render this one thing, done. Let's go into our footage, and there we go. Refreshed it, and now it's a little bit darker. This will just help us match some tones. So we can see our horizons pretty well matched, but now you have to pay attention to scale. So if I zoom in, so we can see, we got to find some elements on here that, oh yeah, and select my object. Let's make sure that the origin is correct. Okay, good. It's all. Sometimes your origin will be way off of your objects, and so you want to recenter that to the origin. So let's flip this around, and I want to see if there's, okay, we can see window sizes. here. And another thing I like to do is try to add a person in the shot for scale reference, and then move them. I'm going to move them close to the car, and then I'll move them back in 3D space. So let me show you. This is always good to do, is create a whole asset library. And I have this one human that I know is scaled properly. He's, I think, 6 feet tall, I believe. And we'll drag him in, and you can see he's teeny tiny. But let's look at where he is in 3D space. So he's way out there. And if I want to move him over here, let's say I want to move him over here, I'm going to put my cursor right here, and then let me click back on this guy. Make sure you have this whole hierarchy selected, and then I can position him here. So we see that the scale of this building is correct. So now we need to figure out where, and then I'm going to try to position him close to where he should be next to the cars. We're just using him for scale reference. So based on this, he might be too teeny tiny, because that's way far away. That building is pretty massive. So it actually would be, and then maybe I should add another guy like roughly here. Bring this guy in, Shift C. Okay, we're gonna lock my camera, and I'm gonna just guess if he's 6 foot. I'm gonna put him there. Let's see. That's too tall. Okay, cool. So let's next, I'm gonna zoom out, and we can see now our building's way off. So I'm gonna split my screen, and this one I'm gonna stay out of this view, but I want that view to stay there. And my other guy, I'm gonna add him. We're gonna select, let's see, add him into, I'm gonna parent him. Oops, wrong way. Parent, keep transformation. And I want to stay on the ground, but we're gonna have to move this here. So you can see they're both on the same ground plane, so that means our camera is a little off. So we can lock our camera. And it looks like my camera is actually tilted a little too. 1 second. We're just lining up some stuff really quick. I think by default my camera accidentally got tipped. And again, this doesn't need to be perfect, but we're just trying to see if it's roughly the right distance away from where everything is. Where's my guy? Okay, so I moved him the wrong way. So let's see, how far away? Let me hit, wait, there we go. Come on now. Make sure it's selecting the whole hierarchy. Okay, zoom in. So now he's too small. So I gotta figure out what this. So it needs to be. What did I do there? Did I do that backwards? We might just skip this step because I just want to get this going. Yeah, I would have to move him way forward. I think that's what I did wrong. Oh well, we're not going to worry about this guy. We're just going to focus on the building. So let's add, our horizon looks pretty good. Is there a horizon viewer in this? Let me see really quick. Grid access. That's okay. So let's add in a plane. This is going to be our light catcher. Cool. So I'm going to show you guys a really cool tool brought to you by Ian Hubert. Oh, well, you can see maybe that was the problem. Our kit bash came off the ground. I just looked. It's not supposed to be floating like that. Let me hide this. It's good to have two, split your screen. All right, we're just going to say that looks pretty good. Can calculate correct. Yeah. There is a way to do it by, there's a tool, what is it called? F-Spy or something like that you can do it. Sometimes it's good to use those. Sometimes do it by eye and you can get good enough. So I was going to show you this really cool tool. So this plane, we're going to add this into a new collection. So you can right click, move to collection, new collection, and I can call this ground. We'll just call it catchers. Okay, and our sun, I'm gonna just let's start looking at the general lighting, and then I'll show you guys some cool things. Come in here. Clearly not right. And my kit bash needs to be moved down into the ground. So we can come in here. Good. Okay. So yeah, how do we get this ground to not just disappear and be a shadow catcher, but also push light up? Let me show you. There is an amazing tool called Compify. Thank you, Ian Hubert, for this tool. And it's going to ask for your camera. So we are going to come in here and select the camera. The footage is going to be our background image. So let's find, there's all of our textures. Let me find the name of this. And let's go back in here. Oh, okay, wait, let's just do all that stuff. There it is. So it's going to ask for your background, sRGB. Now it's going to ask for your footage geo, and that's going to be our ground plane. Okay, so we can come in here, and that's going to be our catchers and our footage lights, and that's going to be everything we put in our lights. And then you're going to hit prep scene, bake footage and lighting. It's going to go through, and you can see it's baking. And then watch this. So what it's actually doing is, and you'll see that the ground is now emitting light, and it took our ground plane and it created, we're going to come into the shader editor, and it created this little thing, and it creates this amazing camera project node. So it's going to project our footage onto this plane, and it does a really good job. It projects it from the right perspective, and I think if we come out of this perspective, you'll see that it is projected, and now it's pushing up light. But we don't want this to emit, we don't want it to be visible to the camera. So what we would do is we would come in here, and we just turn that off right there. So now, and let me turn off we have too many things going on right now. The floor. And we could actually even make it a, let's see, not a shout catcher. We would want to make it actually visible, and we could do a holdout. So it's going to cut out the bottom of that. Oops. Don't want to do that. I want to lock this. Come in here. So now we have at least some light pushing up, hitting the ground. So now we got to fix a couple things. The first thing is going to turn off that sun. And already that looks better. And we're going to change our HDRI. And we could use this. Let's see what, because it's just kind of a bluish sky. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. So because this is like overcasty, we may even be able to get away with that. Just super simple stuff. But let's look. I was going to check one more thing. And then if you play with your, yeah, this was talking about your exposure and your gamma, you can start seeing how it might look if it was a little bit more flat. Even with just this, I feel like I could get away with just that because I'm going to end up cutting the mountains over there. Another good thing to do to test that I like doing is adding a UV sphere. And look at this, it's in 3D space now, so you can see it being cut by the ground. Shade smooth. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And just to look at the ambient light, and it actually doesn't look too bad. And then you would want to make a new material, and you want this to be 50%, so 0.5. Well, no, that's not right. What is it? What's halfway? 0.25? 0.25? Gray, like using a gray ball. And I crank the roughness up. So we're just looking at the light. And then duplicate this. And then copy the material. And then make it metallic and turn down that. And you can see this is what this is what reflections are saying. So you can see the ground plane isn't quite giving us what we want. And I'm going to come down here and merge this. So this is where you can come in here and start playing with some of this stuff. And where is it? Not that one. Is it because, let me click back on this and go up into here and do see, it should be. The ground's looking way more darker than it should. Let's plug this into here. No. 10. Trying to get that back in our reflections. Oh, that gave us our alpha. Let's see. Let me zoom out. So this one is not supposed to be footage emitter. The cool thing too I was going to show you guys is you can do this feather where it's going to feather your object if you don't want to see it, and you can dilate it. That was a really cool thing in here. But I'm not sure why my emission isn't going, because it's supposed to do baked, lighting background. Not sure why that's not working. That's okay. The horizon actually looks better like that, right? On the reflections. Just curious why my my mask in here is not working. Hey, what's up, Sting Dragon? Welcome. All right. Not sure why. It's weird because when I hit emit, it's actually making it darker. I don't know if that's a glitch or something. And now we have a... Finally the weekend. All right, we're just going to turn that off for now. I don't know why it's not emitting the way it should. It should be... That tool should be emitting light up into from the projection. I'm going to just see if it's something I'm doing wrong really quick. Bear with me. I'm going to plug this in here. I'm going to plug that in there. See, that one's working. That's what I was trying to do. It's coming in here so that it was emitting a little bit more. My work has been rough. Hang in there. See, I was trying to get it to do that. What it's doing right now is, see, it's adding an emission. For some reason, it's not working in here. It's staying dark, and it should be 200. It's something in the, I don't even know, debug. Could be a new 4.2 thing, but I don't know. Maybe once Ian updates it. But this is such a great tool. So that I was just wanted to show you guys that adding a chrome ball and adding a gray can help you, and especially if you have something really reflective. So you can see the first immediate problem is our reflections would be wrong. And so you can either find, let's see, something that, come on now, is a little bit more overcasty, something like that. That's, but see, that has like a warm spot in it. That's too warm. And so, you know, none of these might work. And so we might just end up being like, let's come in here and let me open my world. And sometimes you just got to go straight for the kill. And so come in here and add that color in like that. Because we're not doing a lot of crazy reflections, we can get away with this. I would recommend, if you're on set, capture an HDRI, something that's going to help you match this. We could go to, let's see if Polyhaven has something that matches this better. I believe that's what it is, right? Polyhaven. So you come in here, and I am, let's see, gallery. No. Don't they have HDRIs here, right? Outdoor skies, natural light. Let's see, overcast. So we want to find something that's cooler, that has dry grass. That has some too much warm in it. Maybe some of these look a little too warm. That's why I'm trying to find something that feels cool. That one's cooler. And you could go into Photoshop too and paint some of the stuff in. We might be able to adjust one of these. Let me just see. Yeah, it's a dark, cool color. We could try this. It has that hot spot, though, that I don't want. So, again, this is why you would want to... That one's pretty good. I think we might be able to use that. So the cool thing is, if you have your HDRI thing set up properly, you can... I just have to take this file and plug it in to where I have all those assets. So let me just throw that in my HDRI folder. And let's see if it updates. I don't think it updated. Dang it. That's okay. Maybe hit that. Nope. Yeah, that has that sun in there. The other thing you want to do is clamp your brightness by 1. So it's going to get rid of any super bright highlights hitting. See, yeah, that warm spot's ruining the shot for sure. And that one doesn't look good. So, man, why isn't it working? Can you come in here and just hit? It said hit add. That was interesting. Okay, we're getting sidetracked. Yep, we're just gonna turn that off. Unplug it. We're just gonna eyeball this one, and we're gonna trim the strength, and that's gonna give us a good enough result. That'll do. That'll do for now. Okay. Next, again, I'm bummed about that reflections not coming through. Should we try one more time to fix this? $20, 200. Yeah, nothing worked, huh? Okay, we tried. 0. Oh, and then see that went away because the background needs to be plugged in. Okay, so we're just gonna hide these. And yeah, we're going to look at it and see what we like, what we don't like. Does the perspective feel right? It feels like it's leaning towards us a little bit. So I might come in here and I might just, got to make sure you lock your camera. This is up on a hill, so it'd be doing that. The other thing you could do is let's click on our plane. And let's do a subdivision, a bunch of subdivisions. And then we could come into sculpt mode and we could actually come in here. And where's our camera perspective? Let's see. So you could come in here. We're going to make this a little bit smaller. And you could try to paint some of these hills. And then when I hit render, it's getting us a little bit further, you know, if you wanted this behind the hill without having to do any masking. Oh, that was naughty. I moved the camera. Oh no, I crashed it. I crashed it and we didn't save. Okay, we're going to do a speed mode, 200%, and I'm going to see if we can recover our last session. Nope. Okay, we're gonna start all over. Oh my gosh. Dang it, and that took a ton of my time. We didn't even get, okay, let me do this really fast. Speed mode, bring that in. That really stinks. I mean, we were tinkering quite a bit, so maybe we can not do that again. Yeah, I had autosave on, but I didn't save the project, so autosave doesn't work if you don't save it. Oh. I'm going to turn that on. We're going to turn this to full blast. Good. We're going to save the project. Oh, really? It does do an autosave? Even if I don't? Let's see. Recover, autosave. Is it this one? Hey, it did save it. Now we're going to actually do a save. Save as Blender live comp. Thanks, guys. Good. We don't have to rebuild everything. I might just not do what I was doing, the sculpting stuff. I wanted to show you that you can do it though, and it's pretty cool if you you know, you want to mess with some things and kind of push it a little bit further. This is what I was doing. Remember, I was going like this and I hit lock camera and then I did this and it freaked out. So here's what I'm realizing. Because our ground plane, we're actually moving through the ground plane and I don't want to move through it. So because this refinery is on a hill, I am going to actually do this. We're going to do a little cheat. And I'm going to take my plane. Let me turn off my floor. And we are going to re-subdivide this. Subdivide, subdivide, subdivide. Also, if you don't want to do lots of subdivisions, like all over the place, quick tip, just select the area that you want to. So sometimes I'll subdivide like just in front of my camera. So I don't have to like, you don't need everything out there subdivided. It's just a waste. You know, I didn't have to do that. So if you know you want more detail, something closer to the camera, try to subdivide just where you need. So now let's go into the sculpt tools. And actually, let's go back to this camera. And I can just start dragging this stuff up to meet. Too big. Let's use the grab tool, come in here, and we only need it from the front perspective. This is obviously too big, right? We just want to meet the ground. We're just painting polygons. So much fun. And I'm going to hit render. So now let's see if we can just move this down a little bit more. And some of those might be too high still. I like being able to render and do this. Cycles is pretty fast. The fact that you can just come in here and do this is pretty rad. It just like, it makes it feel, oh gosh. Please don't do this. I always like to render while I'm working, and sometimes that can be to my detriment. Let's see how far. We didn't lose it too much. I gotta lock my camera. So because I was just trying to zoom in like this. And let me come back in here and see. We lost my subdivisions. Okay, we lost a bunch of stuff. Great. Okay, we're gonna do that quick. One more. Okay, select this area. Select this area. Cool. Now go back into this mode. What I was trying to do. Okay, we like the position of the building. I'm going to move the plane down this time. Okay, we're not going to do it the other way. Then I'm going to hit 5, and now we're just going to move pieces of the plane up. This is the way I should have done it. If I would have just taken a second to think. We can come in here. Come on now. This way it's just not sitting on like a flat surface, if that makes sense. It'll just start feeling more organic. That's what I was trying to do. Turn off that floor. You can see there's still a little piece right up here. Cool. All right, 4. Let's get zoom out. So we're getting a little bit closer. So how can we improve this? So let's look at the gamma and all that stuff. It feels a little too contrasty, and then we can fix a lot of this. I have a 3090 RTX, I believe. Might be time to get another new card or something. So we know this is really flat, but it's also darker. Again, we're going to be able to match a lot of this in comp, so I'm not super worried about it. And if you notice, like, look how sharp my CG is versus my footage. And so that's also something we're going to be matching. Okay. Does the building feel to you guys? There's the door. There's the person, our little dude. Let me hide him. Does the building feel the right scale? That's another part. Or does it feel like it's too close to us? I almost feel like it feels too close. So let's see if we can just pull this back even more. Like, because I'm trying to, you're looking at the scale of everything. Let me unlock that so we can. What do you guys think? Does it look like the right scale to you guys already? The right scale, right perspective? Sometimes I have to just like slightly tweak stuff. Just so I can, it's on a hill, so we'd be looking up at it. That feels a little bit better because it's slightly sloped. It felt like it was sloping a little bit too much toward us. Now we're exposing some stuff down here. So we gotta block that out. More roughness in the metal. Does it look too shiny? It might be too shiny. That's something we can fix easy. I'm gonna click back on this and then let's see if I can grab a piece of this and move that down. Come on now. Come on. Work with me. Save. Let's get out of this perspective. Let's go back into here. So I know that this needs to all be pushed down. So it's hiding everything. 4, look through here. Also going to do a shade smooth. And I'm also going to hide my 3D cursor because it's distracting. That's feeling a little bit better, is the scale of that, right? Because you have that teeny, tiny door right there. Yeah. And let's do this. I'm going to hit I and instance this thing. Put it over here. Oh, wrong button. And let's go. Maybe there's like another one that's a little bit further down that way. So see how that's like hovering. So you'd have to come back in here and get our sculpting tools and maybe push that up there, but it also feels a little too low. So maybe this one would be a little bit more on like a hill. They wouldn't all have to be the same elevation. Floor needs to be fixed again. Scale this down. There we go. I mean, it's looking a little bit better. I'm always tipping my head. More roughness in the metal. I'm trying to think how I could quickly add more roughness in the metal. Also, look at this. Look how funny that looks. You can use a direct light, but this just looks totally hokey. And the reason why is because your angle would have to be just like so incredibly high, but then you don't, like, nothing in the scene needs that sun. It just doesn't work. It just needs like a flat color. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. I'm wondering if I should move this even further back in Z space. Actually, in Blender calls it Y space, right? Negative. No. There we go. Come on now. Which way is this? No, that's... I don't like that Blender does... It changes... I hate that it changed the name of like Y and Z. Because Y to me is up and down. Is that just a mistake on my part? I've always wondered. Okay, let's move this back a little bit further. And let's go back into our camera. Maybe that one would be out there. Let's click on this. Let's... Could even just use this thing. Oop. And let's hit render. I like that better. That one further away. And let me zoom out so we can kind of see the whole thing. That's pretty cool. The other thing I was going to show you, and we don't have to do this, we could do this in here, but something I really like to do is do an import. Oh, I don't have it on. Images as, where'd that go? Preferences. Is it an extension? Image. What happened to the images as planes? Image as plane. Is it just by default now? Let's find out. File. Let's turn this on here. Let's go File, Import. Did I just miss it? Tracking data, FBX, import. Oh, it's because I didn't hit enter in the preferences. I'm hitting enter. That's weird. Plane. The heck? Where is it? That makes no sense. Okay. I'm going to do a test then. Yeah, I looked in the, it's in the add menu. Is this a new 4. This wasn't in 4.1. Let me see. Image from view. Add an empty new image. Is that image mesh plane? Is that what it is now? Apparently it is. Okay. I was going to show you guys a cool thing to do really quick. Come in here. Let's look at some smoke. Let's see if we can find. It's good to have a huge library of stuff. I'm just showing this as an example really quick. And principled. Yeah, we'll leave it principled for now. There it is. Okay, you guys are right. And then what I was going to do, C, click on this. Oops. Scale. Let's go into our camera view, render. Like if you don't want to comp stuff in Nuke, I've done it this way before, and it totally works. Come in here, unplug that from there, and then you also could add in this into your, gosh dang it, emissions. Actually, you don't even need to do that. You can just turn up the emission strength. And then sample color in here. That did not look good. Yeah, it definitely did not work the way I wanted. You guess you could do it this way. The only thing that I'm noticing that I don't like is, see how that weird dark. And I wonder if it's because it's, which one is it? You can turn off all those. There's a way to do have this not look so dumb. But if you had some stock stuff, yeah, I don't like it emitting. It actually looks worse. For some reason, it's looking worse when I did that. There's a way to do it where it's additive, where it's like you're adding it in there. I'm just not remembering quite how to do it the right way. Anyway, yeah, I've used this technique though where I'm just adding elements in super quick. I would much rather do it in Nuke. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, let's say we're just happy with this. Oh, Let's come in here. I'm going to render the image really quick and see. Boom. Done. Honestly, that's good enough. And it's good to check your alpha. So you can see all the stuff it's giving us. Looks like it's giving us a little bit of shadowing and whatnot for the hill, and that's what we want. So let's just take this and start playing with it in Nuke. I'm just going to save it right here. And because we only need a still. And we're going to call this buildings. And I'm going to change this to an OpenEXR. Save. I'm going to save that. And let's open up Nuke. Now, let's look at some fun stuff. Read building EXRs, open it, merge it over, look at it, and it's looking way off. Why is that? Well, our color space is totally different. Because in here I'm using aces, so you need to go into your color profile, and you need to click on the config, and you need to find your, oops, not that, this one, your config for your aces, or for your AGX. So if I'm using, yeah, AGX, I want to make sure I'm matching so that the colors are correct. And then what you want to start doing is play with the colors up here and start breaking your image. And you're going to start seeing all the artifacts you need to add. So you can see all of that color I need to add in there. You also can see how sharp mine is. So you already know you're going to be adding a blur, like just to even match that. When you crank up the colors like this, it will show you problems that you have. This building also looks like it's floating. And so we're going to have to do a roto. And we're going to roto this guy out. Whoop, whoop. And let's see, B. Let me do this. I'm going to chain this sucker out like that. Also, maybe I'll do like a shuffle before. Let me see if this works and make that one black. So we're just getting that. And then we're going to do a pre-molt. Am I thinking about this right? Let me think about this. 1 second. I don't want to do that. I know what I need to do. I'm going to invert it. Oops. That way. Now do a pre-molt. Sorry, guys. Then do a transform. And holding control, I can move it to the center of that. And what we need to do, I have to think because I'm cutting that part out. There is a, let's see, there is a roto transform, right? Roto paint transform. What is it? Transform masked. Let me see if this is the better way to do it. Hold please. I'm overthinking this right now because I'm running behind. This is what happens. Let me just rethink about what I'm doing with my life. There we go. There we go. That's the better way to do it. And I can plug this in and look at it. right here. There we go. Sorry, guys. The problem was, if I look at it before, it was too high. So yeah, transform masked. That's a great tool. Instead of doing all this crap that I was trying to do, you just create a little nice little mask and bada bing, bada boom. So now we got to start doing some color correction and other fun stuff in here to get this to match properly. I like to do it before all of this. Well, no, we'll do it after because what position matters. So the blur is going to be like near the end. So we can just come in here, add a color correct node. Actually, first things is do a match. You can do, come on, fingers. Match blacks. This tool is super helpful because you can sample your black color. So we would want to look at this image and we would want to find a color in this range that's going to match. And you'll see it's going to try to match. See, it's not selecting the right color. So you got to make sure you're looking at the right image. But yeah, you want to find the darkest point where it's going to be living, and it'll get you closer. Before the black match, though, I wanted to add a grade node because it still feels way too bright, and start bringing it down. But then now it feels too flat, or it feels a little too contrasty. There we go. Now it feels still too bright. Again, sometimes it's just good to eyeball this, you know? I want it darker but more flat. So I'm just bringing down the gain and then bringing up the gamma because it's going to make it less contrasty. It's still way too sharp. We're going to just turn this brightness. We're going to do something like that. And you'll start seeing problems as you do this. So when you add all that stuff in, you're like, ooh, that's flat, but bring it down. And if you can get it to match better when it's like you're doing this crazy coloring stuff to it, it'll look better in the end. So the next thing we can do, so I'm going through two processes, adding the grain back on and matching that grain. So I could add my own grain on, which is the easiest way, and you'd want to do it right here and use, yeah, maybe Luma grain is the one I really like. And then you'll see that the size, you want to make sure that the mask is plugged in so it's not going across all your footage. Oh. Our mask is not. I might want to add a grade node in the alpha and just really make sure it's isolated to this area. It looks like it's going over all of our footage. We don't want that. Oh, maybe it's because I didn't turn the mask on. Come on now. There we go. I just saw it fix. Wait. No, it's still doing over everything. Come on now. Oh, you guys, I'm so dumb. I was on the wrong node. I was like, why isn't this working? So you can see the size of this grain is so small. And so this is where you'd come in here and you'd want to play with it. have to put that back. Okay. So let's try to match this. And again, saturating this up is going to expose a lot of those things in here. You can see the difference between the two. Namely, the size is way bigger. You can see in the red channel. And you can hit R and look at our red channel and look at that. There's the red channel grain. All of it is way, and then hit B for blue. And then you'd want to also bring down the mix. That's starting to match red. That's starting to look better. Green. That's starting to actually match pretty good. Blue. All of those look good. So now it looks way closer to what we had before. Might want to increase, let's see, your minimums, your black, the red channel. Yeah, the red channel looks a little bit more intense. Let's make this 5. That's matching that red a little bit better. I think, let's see, 4. No, that's good. The 4 is good. I'm a new subscriber. I see your Chrome removal live stream. I learned new things. Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you learned some new stuff. So you see we're matching the red grain. If you guys can see the red right there to the red right there. And if I turn this on and off, look at the difference that makes. Grain, like just doing that, like this is a huge mistake I've seen a lot of beginners do, is they're like, hey, I did a matte painting, and they put it in, and then you're like, why does it feel like it doesn't belong? And if you look, like, let's just turn off the blur in the grain, just that. This is, I've seen people submit stuff like that, and I'm like, you need to match a lot more. So blurring it, graining it, you're just looking at the pixels of the footage, and you're trying to analyze and see what's going on. And if I turn this all back, like we're already, and we need to add a color correction node because this is just too much. Come on now. And we're already getting so much closer to what we want. The other thing is I'm noticing, see this vignette? See how it's like dark on this edge, but the back of that is still light. So we also could, before the, it's just some small tweaks to make it right. Yeah, just make some small tweaks. Sorry, you got to go to my office and try and watch my streams. Like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I won't be streaming Saturdays or Sundays. So I'm going to add a vignette, and there's a nice little vignette tool. And you want to do it before the grain. The grain's the last thing. Actually, I'm not going to do a vignette because the vignette is applying it all across that. So we'd want to do it. Maybe we could just do a grade node. We'll just add another grade node. And we're going to just do a roto. Oh, other thing, hit S for settings. And we need to make sure that our size is appropriate because that's going to make a difference on our roto. So recreate that roto because it'll make it the wrong size. And we're going to come in here and just add that in there. And we're going to plug that in. And we're going to hit B for blur. We're going to blur it. And then double click on our grade node and bring that down a little bit more. And we could also feather it like this too. And we just are trying to match what we're seeing on our footage. Okay, so now watch. It's so subtle, but it makes a big difference. Like just that. It's hiding some stuff. I think it's someone to take artists. Yeah, if you ever have questions, Sting Dragon, just message me. Happy to answer what I can. So we've matched the blacks, and look at them. That made a. Why is that? Did my match black do it across all of it? That is not supposed to happen. 1 second here. Uh-oh. The match black was only supposed to be in there. And that may have created some issues. And that's why I couldn't get my grade right, guys. Now let's fix this. Ha ha ha, we found a problem. And turn that gain up in the... It's getting closer. Let's see. Because that is so subtle for someone that has never done these things before. I would never understand to look for that. Oh. Yeah. It's these are like the little these are like the things that make a huge difference. Like just these teeny tiny things. I also think I would push a little bit more, because if I gain this up, I think I would push a little bit more blue into the gamma, so we could come in here and just slightly push this towards blue, like super subtly. And I also think this roto needs to come out even further. I don't think that it's the darkening of that one was far enough in, and it might need to even go a little bit more. I don't know, we'll see. It's looking a little bit better, piece by piece. So, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Let me just go full screen in there. It's looking nice. And again, you want to come up to these top things. This is just for viewing, but you come up here and you start doing this kind of stuff, and you'll see where your issues are. See, our red grain is matching pretty good in those areas. You're just analyzing it and seeing what needs to change, what looks good. Our grain actually was a pretty good grain match. This is, and I've told people this before, if you want to like break UFO footage, do I do live streams every day? So Bubble Pins, I'm trying to do a live stream weekdays is the goal, every weekday. I'm gonna have to jump off in just a second because I have a lot of work to do. But yeah, try to join daily. This back building right here looks like it might need a little bit more, it needs to be a little bit darker. And I want to do when I'm doing this, if you look at my nodes, I want to add the grades I'm doing before my black match, because I know that black match is matching the right color. So I'm more going to focus on like the brightness and stuff. So let me just add one more. And this might change some stuff, but let's add another grade node. And I'm just going to look at this back building, and I'm going to bring down just slightly that back building. Actually, but maybe both buildings needed that. No, only the back building did. So, because it's looking a little too dark. Maybe it's not. This is when it's good to have another eye. When you do that grainy resolution, you talk about matching, finding the trouble zones. I can't tell where they are. Okay, let me show you. We'll just jump back into this. So let me turn up, let me just exaggerate it. I'm going to select this node and the grain node that I put on. And let me turn this on and off. So this is with no grain. This is it being blurred and trying to match the color. And if I turn all my, color stuff up, you're like, hey, that looks fine. But if this is sent to a colorist and they start, grading this thing, they're going to be like, there's some issues. And like if they came in and they're like adding contrast, they're like, that feels off. And it's because we're missing all that grain information from the footage. So you want to, let me just show you, anything you film is going to have grain in it. So let me do and to demonstrate this, just bear with me. We're going to remove the noise from this image. Okay. Build a profile. I'm going to hit apply. So this is with grain, without grain, with grain, without grain. And so there's the grain in it and there's without it. So you want to be matching that part of it. So another thing you could do is you could say, take the no grain, the degrained one, and you use a merge node and you look at your grain one and you say, hey, let's do a little math equation and from this. So where are the values from this? This is just another way to do this. And then once you take that off of it, right? And let's plug, so looking at my chain, let's plug this into the denoise version, right? So there's our denoise version. And then here's our denoised comp, right? So now they both look flat and they're matching better because they both have no grain on them. Then you could take this thing, this grain nastiness, right? And if you add that back on top here, that's probably the best way to match all the grain, because now we're using the footage as grain. So now we just added, but the problem is you can see certain hard lines crossing over. Like you can see the mountain lines, because if you look at the grain in here, see how it's degraining, but it's also pulling in some like details. Footage, this is not film. This is shot on the Ariel X, that's digital camera. So this is digital noise. And these are the values that we're getting when we denoised it. And so, yeah, you separate them exactly. So you separate the grain from it, and this is what's separated from it. And then you add in your CG stuff, and you add it back on top. And when you do that, you'll get a perfect match. The problem is, even though it's perfect, is you might get some artifacts showing through. Like I can see some hills and horizons and things like that, like a little bit. So that's one way you can do it. And if that doesn't work, the other way to do it is try to match it by eye, which is what I did. So I tried to match it by eye, and we got pretty close. So this is me trying to match it. So yeah. Then the last thing you would want to do in this is you would want to track the footage. And I got to jump off in just a second. Let me just check some messages really, really quick. We've had a really good turnout today, so thank you so much for joining. Sorry, just had to check a couple messages really quick. Okay, so what we do is we could do a planar tracker. I'm just going to do a normal tracker. And again, we looked at this footage, and it was on a tripod, so it's just moving up and down. So we don't need to worry. And you want to find high contrast areas. What if you don't have high contrast areas? There's a great tool called PNX, Bandpass. You can get this. These are free. These little plugins. This thing called Bandpass, what it's going to do Come on now. I would have to find, is it C-Log? What is this camera? There we go. Sometimes you can do something like this to find contrast. So you can see it's chattery though. But if you're having a hard time, you can do like a bandpass and it will help you extract stuff. Let me see. You can just see a lot more detail in here that we couldn't see before. Maybe if I plug that into the reduced noise, we get, so now it's, there we go. Denoise and then a bandpass. So if I'm looking at my footage and I'm like, I want that little, this little piece right here, that one disappeared right there. So if that doesn't work, you can just add a, sometimes just even adding a grade node, and the goal is get some contrast that you can track to. Plug that in, and now it's going to say, hey, let's add a tracker, and you're going to say, let's track that thing right there. And then you hit track forward, and you can see, and then we want to go to here and we want to track backwards. Great. And I don't think we had any rotation. Didn't go to, sorry, missing your, so return the green better. Pick up details. Yep, this is fascinating. Glad you're liking it, Sting Dragon. We didn't go into things like this, but logic behind it is still applicable. Yeah, this is great. Like just, this is all about compositing and looking for those little detail-y thingies. So once you have your track, you can come in here and do a transform match move baked. I like to use the baked one. And we want to put this before, trying to think of the best place where to put this. I think near the end. So now our footage, now our buildings should be locked in. And the back building is moving a little bit wonky, and I see some issues with this, and it could be because we have rotation. And if you have rotation, you have to do another tracker that will calculate that. Or another tracker I like to use is just the planar tracker. The planar tracker is going to look at a whole area. And so we could say we know the building is here. And so we could just draw that, and then you'd want to just track forward. And this is going to give us everything we want. We'll click right here, and let's try to do the baked tracker. And so it's going to create this new one. And this one, we can select all these, turn on this and the rotation, and we can average these. Or we can just come in here, I think, and we just do bake. Let's see. There it is. Let's see if this gives us a better result. And you can zoom in and see if it's shifting. It's actually looking pretty good. This back one would possibly need its own track because of where it is. Now let's go down here and let's turn that on. Let's go back. Oops. Let's revive everything. Let's look at this full screen. And then we'll see where there's issues. It's not too bad. I think it's pretty locked in. There we go. So yeah, there we go. That was just a quick save. Oh yeah, I haven't saved this one. And there's a lot more we could do. If you have a good map painter, they could come in here and add some extra details, and we could project stuff. We could bring our 3D scene into Nuke, and then we could project onto the geometry and do a lot more stuff. But I would be pretty happy about this personally. So let me just turn up. Let's see if we can break it a little bit. This is gonna, and again, doing this, you'll watch it over and over, and then I always suggest have someone else look at your stuff. Like when you're happy with a point, you're like, I think this is good. This is why they do dailies at studios where they'll sit down and they'll watch and see. Because your eyes might miss something. It happens to me all the time. I'm like, hey, it looks good. And then I show someone, they're like, what's that? And you're like, I have no idea. And I don't know where I missed that. Like I can see little tracking things that I would have to fix. But we're out of time. Overall, I mean, yeah, it's not too bad. There's some things that we could come back in and fix and make it look better, but I'd probably make that back building even darker. It looks too bright right here, way too bright. I'd probably add another rotonode because there's a bush in front of it that I missed. And yeah, and it'd be cool to add some like blinking lights and stuff on top. Like, maybe there's like, and then match to what their headlights look like. But there you go, guys. That's our shot. That was fun. Adding in some buildings in the middle of nowhere. Sent you an email earlier today. I'll have to go check. My name is A. Ron, but thank you. I would love to sit down so we had this in school. Yeah. Oh, sweet. Booking call. Okay. Great. Awesome. Wow, we had 43 people on Twitter today. Holy cannoli. And we had 5 people on YouTube. I wish we had more on YouTube. Let's try to get those numbers up. Facebook, we had a bunch of people come and go. That's fine. And Twitch, you guys have been awesome. Thank you, Sting Dragon, for joining and participating. You guys let me know if there's other things you want to learn. I love teaching all this stuff. Love giving away my secrets. What do you think if I made a full course of this? I'm thinking about putting some time, and maybe I should send a poll out and see which course would be most interesting. Here's what I'm thinking. Either doing more CG integrated stuff like this, or talk about the business side of things. How can you make over $100,000 as a freelance VFX artist? That's something I love talking about. And I think I've figured out some cool tips and tricks and things that can help you. So especially when, economy is crazy and the world's nuts, and it's like every time you think you have some type of stable thing, it goes away. And wouldn't it be rad to just be able to work from home, be able to make a lot of money doing art, doing what you like. What program, what are you asking? What about program limitations? Can you explain, Steam Dragon? Bubble pins, you'd like to learn more about comp business and business side of things in the VFX industry. Look, full transparency, never worked at a studio. I'll have to tell this story a little bit later, but basically I've had opportunities to work at a studio, and I was like, I don't want to move to LA because even if you're making $100,000, you're not making enough. And then I don't want to move to Vancouver, and same situation, too expensive. And so I had opportunities. I was able to work on big IP, but here from where I am, which is Utah. So I've been able to work here and work on cool big things and not have to live in LA and not have to live in a just not a good family environment, in my opinion. So yeah, if that's something that interests you, I'd love to do it. When you just start out and you don't have the budget. Well, if you don't I have the things like Houdini, Nuke, and other things. So Sting Dragon, the cool thing is, if you don't have money to invest in software, so the cool thing is Nuke, what I just did today, I want to stay home too. What I did today in Nuke, you can get, there's a free 1080p Nuke. Let me see if I can pull this up before I jump off. What is it? Foundry.com. And I believe they allow you to do compositing up to 1080p, so you can export and you can learn everything there. Nuke family, let's see. Try Nuke for free. So I'm using Nuke Indie, which is $500 a year, I believe. What is it called? Free 1080p Nuke. Non-commercial Nuke. There we go. So let me share my screen really quick. So yeah, if you go to the Foundry, you can get Nuke non-commercial. So this is if you want to learn. So before you start getting paid and you want to learn how to use it. Output resolution 1080p. 2D formats disabled, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, no third-party plugins, but you can learn the tools, which is great. So Nuke, you can get it, and then once you start making money, you pay $500 a year. That's, one job, and you have it, and it's up to 4K, and that's what I'm using today. And then you also, Blender is totally free, 100% free. Go to blender.org if you want to do 3D stuff. Boom, totally free. And then if you want to pay for other things, you can, add-ons. But anyway, yeah. Unreal Engine, great. Yeah, if you're good at Unreal Engine, use Unreal Engine. Fantastic tool. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Shoot me a message. Let me know. I am longing for Houdini. Houdini, Indie, $600 a year. It's great. Perfect. I've been using it for years. But yeah. Do you have a Patreon 101? Bubble Pins. Just send me an email. You can shoot me an email. Here's my email. Let me see if I can reply straight to you. There you go. If you want to shoot me an email, go for it. And yeah, happy to work one-on-one. I did have something set up on my website, but I'm going to be changing my website here soon, so I don't want to keep using that. Oh, Houdini. Oh, yeah. Duh. Thanks, Nick. Houdini India is 260 US. What was I thinking? 600. Come on. Yeah. Patreon. Guys, what do you think? Should I set up a Patreon? I've been thinking about it. I'm trying to decide because it's like either create the big courses. I don't know if that's worth it, or just do a Patreon. Can't hurt. Yeah, I guess I have to figure out. I would want to make sure that everyone's saying do it, create a Patreon. Okay. If you guys say so, I'll try to follow something like Ian Hubert does, because his is great. But I want to make sure, here's the thing, guys. If you're going to pay monthly for my Patreon, I want to make sure it's top tier value. You know what I mean? I know some things I can give away for free. I think if I do a Patreon, I know already what I would do is I would give, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Unrecognized .found. I could do a Discord server. Yeah. Guys, I think I might do a Patreon and then I'll start pushing it. I think that's a good idea. Because that way it's do I create a big course, or do I just have for example, the business video, and just be boom, I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to record a video, present some stuff. And if you're on the Patreon, then great. And then if you get access to it. So I was going to say, I would also give you guys access to, would this be worthwhile? Is I have, let me share. I gotta go. There's me. So I started working on these courses. Oh gosh, that's okay. That's annoying. Let me show my new website because that I've had so many problems with that other website. 1 second. Hold please. Hold please. Not that. All right. Let me show you this. This is going to be my new website. So, like, I have my stock effects. If I did my Patreon, what if I said, hey, you get access to all this stuff too? You know, so there's like good reason, because I want to make sure the value's there. I don't want to just do a Patreon to like do a Patreon. Does that make sense? Just be like, hey guys, thanks. I'd be like, live streams. Maybe the live streams would be on YouTube. I'd try to do it. Maybe what would you guys say? Tone down the live streams on YouTube, and Patreon, you'd get the higher value live streams where I'd be giving way more cool things away. I don't know. Send me some ideas of what you guys think would be worth it as far as Patreon. But yeah, I just want to make sure it's like valuable. I don't like just, I don't know if that makes any sense, but wow, we had 54 people. Thank you so much for hanging out. All right, guys, it's that time. I'm already like way behind and I got a lot to do. It's Friday. So you like the live streams? Would you say, can you do Patreon live streams? Sorry, I know I gotta go. Or, okay, so maybe I do a Patreon. Guys, I'm trying to think the best thing to do. I'll think about it. Let me think about this and create like exclusive streams. Okay. Can you do streams on Patreon? Is that a thing? Let me know. If some of you can portfolio feedback. Ooh, I like that. That's good. Portfolio feedback, maybe some coaching for higher tier. Hey, that's not bad. I have to figure out the tiers. Maybe what I'll do is this. I'm going to start coming up with an idea, and then I'm going to post it on my Twitter, or should I post it on my YouTube channel and I'll ask and then see what you guys think is what's good tiers, what's good price, what's a good tier, what's worth it, I think that's great. Thanks, Team Dragon. Dude, thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it, guys. All right, guys, I got to go. It's time. It is time. Stuff to do. Thanks again, and we'll see you.